Alright everyone, so now
It's finally
it's
time.
finally time for story.
What is that?
The Missy Elliott.
Yes, that's the one I was asking you for the other day.
Or just say something.
Something.
You're really freaking funny.
I know.
Mm.
So we just recorded 25 minutes of our storytelling and it only recorded 30 seconds because that about sums up van life.
The Grinch just eat this cup.
Oh my gosh. I hated that when he
Ate
chewed
the
on the
glass.
glass. Bruh.
Alright.
Okay, so take 3. So we just recorded for 25 minutes and it stopped at 30 seconds.
Then we tried to record again, and it stopped at 30 seconds again. Well, I think it was because the phone was locked.
So hopefully we got it fixed. Okay, update video. So we left Yellowstone. We drove through South Dakota, then drove to Wisconsin to see Eugene. Shout out Eugene. And then
Yeah, we got back on
back to
Memorial
Ohio.
Day. Yeah, we got back
No,
to
Labor Day.
Labor Day.
No, Labor Day was in May. No, Memorial Day is in May.
I'm glad we're redoing it because I said
No,
Memorial
you
Day
said Labor
before.
Day.
I thought I said Memorial.
The last video you said Labor Day. Anyways,
Yeah. So we got back on September 1st.
we drove 9 hours on Sunday from South Dakota to Wisconsin.
Yeah.
And then we drove 9 hours on Monday from Wisconsin to Ohio.
That was after we got up and we drove like an hour to the
to
university.
Madison to see
yeah.
Eugene. And then we drove to get the van.
So when we got back on Labor Day, the 1st, we got up, we got in about 10 o'clock, and then we got up Tuesday, so this is the 2nd now. We got up and we had planned, we told the people that we would be there on Wednesday, be to North Carolina on Wednesday at the dealership. So, you know, I did all that, took care of everything with my work on Tuesday, and then we had lunch with my mom, and then we left Springfield around like 12:30. And we drove from there to Wilmington,
North Carolina.
because that's where her sister lives. So we stayed with her. So we got down there on Tuesday night, and then Wednesday was when we went to get the van. And
It was like 2 hours.
yeah, it was like hour and a half, 2 hours. We, like I said, we were staying in Wilmington. We had to go to Goldsboro to get the van. So yeah, we went and got the van. And this is, I don't want to say this is where things started going wrong.
Oh no.
Nothing went wrong. But this, after we got the van, and I mean immediately after we got the van, it kind of gave us a glimpse into
What the whole process.
like conversion and just van life
living in a
itself
van.
was gonna be like. So
We knew the knock
yeah, there
sensor
was a
needed
knock
replaced.
sensor. Yeah, that.
And the guy said, he said like, just he'll order the part, or he ordered it and had it shipped to us, and then said, like, get it replaced and we'll pay for the labor or whatever.
So we're driving, and the oil pressure indicator, the light in the van comes on, and I was so confused because I've only done like a handful of work on cars, which consisted of like brakes, oil, headlights, that sort of thing. But I've never done any actual work or any work on a van. And
So he was Googling
yeah,
it
I'm
while we're
Googling it
driving.
as we're driving. So we found out what it was. And
You Googled it and it said pull over
oh yeah,
immediately.
pull over immediately. Yeah, and we're on the highway, and I'm like, bruh, this is insane. So I called her. I let her know what was going on. This is when we were on the way back to Wilmington.
Like
too.
literally just bought the van.
And we pulled over at a gas station, and I was looking for the dipstick to like check the oil, because diesel fuel is thicker than your regular unleaded fuel, and I don't know how long the van had been sitting and had been hot there. And typically when people go to look for a new vehicle, a van normally isn't the first choice. And when the diesel fuel sits, it kind of coagulates a little bit if it doesn't move. So imagine like thick, just grease that's just been sitting there. I'm like, well, this thing will go off, you know, the van.
We had a guy check our oil, and he said the oil level was fine,
Yeah, it was
because
fine.
the
He found
problem
the
with
dipstick.
the oil pressure light that comes on, it gets it's like dangerous because the pressure is too low.
Yeah,
But our level was fine.
Yeah.
We started going back again,
Yeah, we
and
went to two. So after we pulled off and checked the van ourselves, we went to 2 separate shops for them to look at it. The first one couldn't get us in, and they didn't really give us any, information on what was happening with the van, like why the light was on itself. So then the second one we went to, that's when the guy found the dipstick and checked the oil and was like, yeah, it's fine. And it was weird because when we were driving through the town of Goldsboro, or the little town we were driving through, when we took it to the shops, it was off. But then when I would get up to highways, anything above 60, it would come on and it would just like start flashing, and I couldn't use the cruise or anything.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't use the cruise.
So it was basically just because it hasn't been driven at that speed in a while.
And so she is calling around to see, who works on Mercedes for one.
Because I still wanted to have somebody else
look
at
yeah.
it and make sure, because of the sensor, like I wanted to make sure nothing else was going on.
And
So I called.
Yeah, she called this one guy and was asking him, do you work on Mercedes? And he's like, I don't, but the gentleman behind me does. So then she calls me back and she's like, I found this guy that said he can work on it, or not work on it, but at least take a look to let us know what's wrong with it. And so we get off of the highway and we make a left, and like half a mile we make a right, then another mile or so we make a left just onto this dirt road
In the middle of
backwoods
nowhere in North Carolina.
And long story short, we go down this road. I don't know how long the
This
road
dirt
goes
road.
on. Like, I don't know how long the road goes on for, but we probably went down a good mile or so. And this house disappeared out of nowhere, and the guy had like 20 or 25 cars in his yard, and it was all foreign cars, like
All German
yeah,
cars.
all German engineering. Next to his house, he had a barn that was bigger than the house that he lived in, and it wasn't empty. There were like 3 or 4 cars that were being worked on. He had, I'm guessing were his employees in there working on the cars. So he comes out to us and he's asking if we were the ones that called about the van, and we're like, yeah. And he's carrying this tablet that's probably like 20 inches wide. And he's like, yeah, I can tune. I'm asking him about it. He's like, yeah, I can tune cars with this thing. And that tablet basically allows him to tell the vehicle. He plugs into the vehicle for one, but it tells him everything that's wrong with the vehicle. So if it won't start, if it needs a tune-up, if there's something wrong with the engine, that sort of thing. So he plugs it into our van, and he's telling us, like we told him about the NOx sensor, and he's like, yeah, without that sensor, because on the way there, indicator popped up that said we only had 10 starts left. And we told him that, and he said, yeah, that NOx sensor basically prevents you from harmful
Not harmful.
chemicals.
It's like bad for the environment, not bad for you.
Which is kind of a cool and necessary feature to have, especially for a diesel vehicle.
It just protects them.
So, long story short,
So basically the 10 starts was like, once you get past the 10 starts, it's going to start emitting like the harmful emission for the environment.
Yeah.
So it won't let you start the van after that. So the guy,
yeah, he was like, he's like, it's not illegal. And then he just stopped and just kind of laughed.
and while he was looking at the while
like,
he was
whatever.
looking at the tablet, he's like, sorry, sometimes it's hard for me to translate this.
Oh, that
from
was the part we
German."
left out. It was a German guy. And the tablet that he had, everything was in German. He was like trying to translate to us, tell us what the
Was
fault
wrong
codes
with
were.
it
So
in
everything on
English.
his tablet
I'm gonna check.
was in German. Everything on his, he's trying to tell us what it says, and he was like, I'm not I'm guessing he didn't have the best, I don't want to say the best English, but trying to
Translate those like big
German
words,
to
like
English,
especially
yeah.
like car stuff.
Yeah. And
But-
so he told us,
Like we're fine,
We're fine.
basically. Like nothing's gonna happen while we're driving home.
and like I said, she found him. So before we left, he's like, excuse me, how you find us? And she's like, I
I'm
called this
doing
guy.
the German accent.
She's like, I called the guy to ask if he worked on Mercedes, and he said he didn't, but he said you did and gave me your number. And he was like, oh, you leave a Google review? And we were like, yeah. And we asked him for a card, so he gives us his card.
And it's
And I didn't check it until we got back to Wilmington. I'm like, it said master certified German technician. I'm like, what are the odds we
That-
find a technician, not just any technician, but
A
a
master
master
technician.
certified German technician in North Carolina,
in like the middle of
of
nowhere.
all places. So
We had to, on the drive home from North Carolina, we're like, okay, we can stop here,
We had to
just
kinda
leave the
plan our
car
stops
running
out,
while
yeah.
we get the food so that we
Yeah.
don't run out of starts.
Yeah. And so we got back that Thursday, and then Thursday we got back after midnight. It was pretty late, but we were just happy to have the van because I remember just talking about it. And when we lived out here in California in our apartment, we would like string tape on the ground and made like not a model, but what basically our floor plan. So we kind
Yeah, the
of
layout.
strung everything together as far as the layout on our floor, and to actually have the van, it was just kind of cool to just have it.
Like, it's actually happening.
It's happening, yeah. And so yeah, we
Got back.
did a lot of driving within that month and a half, from when we left California to when we got back to Springfield. Because when we got back with the van on Thursday, Friday we turned around and went to visit my family in Indiana. So it was like
back to back.
Yeah, it was
back.
back to back. But we had a lot of fun
Mm.
though. So fast forward to like the middle of September, beginning of October.
We got the van. We got the knock sensor
Yeah, we
replaced.
got
we
that
started
fixed.
working on it,
Yeah.
stripping everything out.
I was
Because
just
he was at
Yeah, I
work,
was at work.
and
She's
I'm like ripping the
Yeah.
walls down, ripping the ceiling down.
She's like, babe, your mom and I, we got. I'm like, oh my god.
And his mom had just had shoulder
Oh,
surgery, and I'm like, please be careful. Do not mess your shoulder up. And we're in there trying to get that big seat out
yeah,
of
there
the
was
floor. Like,
yeah.
we're like trying to crank the
It was
wrench to get it
It
out.
was crazy.
And I was like, let's just wait for Quincy. Like, he'll be able to help us. And she's like, oh no, we're getting it done.
She's
So
determined.
we did. And
Yeah.
that thing, it like fell back on top of
They
me.
got it
Oh
out.
my gosh.
It
But we
was,
got it out.
What, three,
3-seat. Yeah, bench.
4-person bench
I think it was
right
3.
behind you. But they got that out, and then like the ceiling.
We
and
got
then
it
the
down.
flooring.
And the walls.
So that was like the first. We're just kind of gutting the van, everything from the bench to the floor to the ceiling.
Mm-hmm.
But it was kind of fun because like I was just looking back like 2 weeks ago. I was trying to get some footage off of the GoPro, and I saw a couple videos of her.
That
van
first
life.
video?
She's like, I had to call I'm watching the video. She's like, all right, Quincy's at work. I'm about to try to unscrew something. Then I swiped to the next video. She's like, all right, I just had to call my dad to ask him how this drill works.
Because I didn't know how to put it in reverse.
Like, oh
I'm
my
like, it's only
God.
screwing in. How do I?
And we hadn't even.
So that's
like,
where we started.
Yeah, and I think that was before.
No, that was the
ceiling.
first. That was before we got the seat out
Seriously?
too. That was like
That
I
was
was
crazy.
just trying to find the easiest thing to do, and I couldn't
Yeah.
even figure out how to work a
It
drill.
was crazy. I was like, oh my god.
But we got it.
And yeah, we have been working on that, and it was really nice. Like, I know when we first moved out here, she got a lot of crap for being from Ohio, especially from people living in California. Like, California is a beautiful state. There's a lot of beautiful states. I think Ohio in the fall is like
Mm-hmm.
an amazing state. You've got the sunshine, you've got clear skies, but you've also got that cozy, like there's some parks near us. We would go on walks and stuff. But I mean, I like being outside. In Ohio in the fall, like all the trees still have their
Yeah,
leaves on them.
it was nice.
They
We got to
haven't-
go to football games.
Yeah, it was really nice. The Midwest is like peak.
September, October.
I love being there.
Well, then the next step on the van,
Mm-hmm.
I think this was before we went to Colorado, showed us exactly how everything else was going to go. We were so excited. We're like, okay, the first thing we're going to do now that we got it all clear is put the fan in.
Oh my lord!
We got
I'm like,
up
where
there.
are you going with this? So I completely.
We got the
forgot about it.
jigsaw. We borrowed it from my dad's friend.
Keep in mind the van. It wasn't hot. It wasn't hot outside, but the van, it didn't have any panels on it, anything on the roof of
Yeah.
the van. It
So
had
we
just
were
been
up
sitting
there.
in the sun, and so I'm walking around like
Mm.
my hands have 3rd-degree burns because the
Mm.
roof was so hot.
And we cut the hole
Mhm.
for the fan, measured it,
In
did
the
all the
wrong spot.
steps, cut it, and then we tried to put the fan in, and it's because there's like ridges on the
Yeah.
roof.
It
Wouldn't it
didn't.
be
Yeah,
flat
it wouldn't be flat. And there was a spot.
in the front of the
near the
van because
front
we
of the
wanted it
van.
above our bed,
Mhm.
so like when we're sleeping we could have the fan on and we
Yeah.
wouldn't get too hot. Well, there's a spot for the fan
Mm.
in the front,
And we
So
didn't
follow
know
that.
it's like a
a square that
square
perfectly
with
fits.
the circle that's like here. Place it might as well have
Put
a
the
place
fan
here,
here.
sticker with the finger pointing.
So
But,
after we cut that and realized it wouldn't work, we
then
had to
get-
patch the hole up with
Yeah.
sheet metal
Yeah, I was
and
about to say we went to Lowe's to get sheet metal and some
sealant. And, oh my gosh.
and
So it was like everything we did, we had to do twice because we
Mhm.
did it wrong the first time.
twice, 10 times, 100 times. Like making our shower, I'm pretty sure we cut that at least like 20 times.
Yes, and it's not.
But
it's crooked.
It's
But it's okay.
Yeah. So after we did all that, then we took a trip to Colorado. And then we were like, we had been planning this trip before we even left California. My best friend, he's like my brother, Jamar, and my cousin Kiera. We were talking with them because originally our plan was to go to Hawaii.
First, we were planning to go to New York.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Yeah,
And then Hawaii.
And we just couldn't really find anywhere that would accommodate the four of us, and like actually shifted from New York to Hawaii when we were in Florida in the July before we left. We went to this natural spring, and I text Jamar and I'm like, said something about Hawaii, and I'm like, I would love to go to, I'd like being out in nature. I would rather go to an island anyway. And he was so excited.
Anyways, we decided to go to Colorado, which was amazing.
Yeah, it was so much fun. I love the mountains.
Yeah, we stayed in Fraser, which is like an hour west of Denver, up in the mountains.
Yeah.
Up like what we were at like 11,000.
Oh no, the Airbnb was at like 8,300 feet of elevation, and Denver's at 52, so we were well above a mile.
And we the drive was beautiful there. The weather the first 2 days was so nice. It was like
sunny,
in the 70s.
Yeah, we got up the next day. We didn't really do too much that night when we got there. We went to this barbecue spot and then the next day we got up and we went to this little coffee shop, and we were just kind of hanging out. And
did we do Denver that day?
Either that day or the next day.
Yeah.
I can't remember. But we had a lot of fun, and it was crazy because we were there from Thursday to Tuesday.
I don't remember the date.
I think Thursday to Tuesday.
Yeah, that sounds right.
And we went to we drove through the Rockies. We went to Denver.
Yeah, so the first 2 days were really sunny. 3 days were really sunny, beautiful, like in the 70s.
We went to Estes Park, which for you horror movie lovers out there, this is where the Stanley Hotel, which is where we went. You can do like tours and stuff. That's where Stephen King stayed.
And he had a nightmare, and he came up with the idea for The Shining. So The Shining wasn't filmed there, but that was the inspiration. It was filmed out in Oregon. Yeah.
But we're gonna go there. That's where
Stephen King actually stayed.
That's where The Shining was kind of.
And we went in because me and Jamar love scary movies, so we wanted to get pictures of the room he stayed in.
And we had been there before too
with my parents.
When we went there before, we kind of snuck around.
Yeah, because you're not allowed to go up there unless you're staying at the hotel. So
we kind of snuck up 3 floors and then over and then down to the second floor.
Because they have that section blocked off. You need a key to get in because they don't want people going.
We went around and there was a tour. There was a group of people that were right in front of the door.
That was our mistake.
And so we went down there. We kind of tried to blend in. There were all these people taking pictures.
They were all old people.
And I was kind of just standing off to the side because I didn't want a picture.
So we got our pictures.
Her and Jamar got the picture.
And then I didn't see
them walk away.
Because I'm like, we got it. Let's go. We don't need to hang out.
I'm just looking. And so I turn around and I see him walking, and I'm like, I don't want to walk in front of all these people and make it more awkward. Somebody just stand here, and maybe they just won't see me.
And then
me and Kiera were standing right there, just trying to blend in with the wall, with the group of people. And this lady, she looks directly over
the tour guide.
Yeah. And past her, she's like, "Do you guys have your room key?"
She asked you that because you were standing there and you looked over at Kiera. You're like, "No, I don't have it. Do you?"
Like, do you have it?
And then Kiera just stood there.
And she's like, she just went mute. She didn't say anything. And I'm like, I'm the worst person to ask.
Oh my gosh. And I'm like, yeah, we have it. And then just kept walking. And they were just standing there. And I'm like, come on.
He was kind of standing there and he just put his head down and
followed me Jordan smartly.
And so
we have it. We're going or something like that. And then the lady goes,
she's like, that would be wise. And that we just walked past her and I could just feel
all of them staring.
8 pairs of eyes just staring at us as we walked away. And so that was a highlight of that entire trip. Sometimes we'll just text in our group chat and be like,
say, that would be wise. Because
then
after we left there, we drove
into the Rockies. Yeah, and we could see.
It was rainy. It was kind of rainy that day.
Yeah, we could see the rain clouds coming. And like I said, when we got there, it was sunny. It was a little cloudy, but it wasn't anything. When we left there, we could see the... right before we got to the entrance of the park, we could see it. It was just dark. Because we walked around Fraser. We went to
Estes Park.
I said Fraser. We went to Estes Park. we walked around Estes Park, like the little downtown area.
As we started driving up, it was like rainy, sprinkly, and then we
And
kept
then
getting
because
higher.
we were getting so high, it went from rain and it turned to sleet.
And then it
the higher
like
we went, it
started snowing,
sticking.
and you could see like a little bit of snow.
And then at one point, like we pulled over, so
It turned into a full-on blizzard.
It was a blizzard. It was
like,
so crazy.
And we were at how tall?
The last sign that I saw was when, and this was the last sign I saw, and we kept going up for like another 15 minutes. It was like 11,800 feet, 11, and like I said, we kept going up, and this was after we stopped and they took the pictures.
Yeah, so we stopped and took pictures like out in front of the visitor center, and it was like blizzard. We'll put some of the pictures on here. And a ranger pulled off, she's like, "You guys got to get going. This road's about to close because of the snow."
Yeah,
so we got in.
We wouldn't have gotten stuck. We had a Jeep. It was a really nice Jeep, so we would have been fine. But the fact that those couple thousand feet made that much of a difference.
And then we started going back down, and it started turning into rain again, and then it was sunny. Like when we got down to Grand Lake to take pictures.
We went to Grand Lake, and that snow on top of the mountains mixed with the sunshine on the leaves. Because keep in mind, this is October, and so technically it's still fall, and it was like fall in the mountains. So you got views of snow on top of the mountains. It was like, it just rained and the sun was shining through. It was
really
amazing.
pretty.
Yeah.
And then the next morning we woke up, we got back, and it didn't snow where we were staying, and then it did that night. The next morning we woke up and we were driving, and like all the trees were covered in snow. That was the day we left. It was really pretty.
Fast forward.
And then remember at the airport, Kiera?
Oh my Lord. She left her bag
leaves
like
everything.
3 times.
She just sets stuff down and then forgets about it.
And so the flight there, like I said, it was bumpy, but leaving, it wasn't bad.
Yeah, it wasn't. And that Uber driver was going so fast, I was like freaking out in the back seat.
He was zooming.
It was like a 45 going into the...
Yeah, no, he was.
And he was going almost 70.
He was
through the rain. Anyways, we made it.
Yeah, so then fast forward back home after our trip, we started working on the van a little bit more, and I think this was when this was like a weird point in our transition from gutting the van to converting it, where it was like it was gutted all the way, but it wasn't fully converted. And I don't want to say we started converting it, but if you notice, it was like we built frames and started adding the insulation, and for a while that's all it was. It was just frames, insulation. It was very
slow. But we were working too, and we had other stuff to do.
Yeah, and it was kind of a slow transition, but it wasn't that bad. So for a while, like I was, driving the van to work, and it was just frames and insulation in there. We went to, was that in October? No. When did we go for your mom's birthday?
Oh yeah, October.
Wait, when did we go? When was that? Colorado?
The end of September.
September, okay. Yeah. So like the middle of October, then we drove down to Florida.
Did we take the van? No, we just drove the car. We left early. That was an easy drive, actually. We got there and we went to Epcot.
Yeah. Got some.
Me and my mom love Disney. We go and I think that was the first time I remember like actually rope dropping. Like we got into the park before it was open. Normally we get there like right when it's opening, but we got there before it was open, and then they dropped the ropes and we got to go.
We spent some time there.
We stayed until after they closed. So.
And it's crazy. There's so many people. If they closed at what, like 10?
Mm-hmm. I think so.
And there were people in line for rides at like 9:45.
Yeah, that was us. We got in line for
the Guardians.
The Guardians ride. We rode that twice.
Fun, yeah, and I'm terrified of roller coasters, but that Guardians ride, it starts you off backwards. And then the seats that you're in,
they turn. It was so cool. That's probably my favorite ride I've ever ridden.
They turn, and so you'll kind of turn with the ride depending on which direction it's going. Like it starts off backwards, it just shoots you backwards, and then it goes up the hill. But while it's going up the hill, your seat turns, so when you get to the top of the hill, you're facing forward, but you start off backwards.
And I always get so nervous riding with him because I'm like, I hope he likes it, because he does not like rides. He sits in line.
Whatever ride we get on, I'll sit in line
and watch it over and over again to make sure like that there's no drops.
I'm not getting on the ride.
Yeah.
But you couldn't really tell
because it was so dark. So I'm glad you rode it.
No, it was fun. Yeah, and yeah, so we spent some time there, and then we went. Like I said, whenever we're with her parents, we normally go get coffee. So we went and got some coffee. We went to, what else did we do when we were down there?
We
'Cause
went to
were down
like
there
downtown Disney area, Disney Springs.
Yeah, Disney Springs was kind of cool. Yeah, they had this.
And that to like all the resorts and stuff to see the
Oh
decorations.
yeah, that was cool. Yeah, the Polynesian one that was really cool. And those bungalows
They're so expensive.
right there on the water. Oh my god, what was it like?
Like you could go to
a
like
night?
Bora Bora for less.
Yeah.
But then you don't get Disney. So then we came back in October and we kept working on the van. It slowly was coming together. We're
And
getting walls up.
This was kind of when Ohio is in a weird area because it'll be, you might get snow at the end of October and no snow on Christmas, or you might get
Yeah, it snowed at like the first or
beginning
second
of
week in
November.
November.
Yeah, and like that's when it started. It was really really gloomy, and after living out here for 2 years, I mean, we've become
We're
like
used to
little
sunshine.
just sunbathers. Wherever there's sun, we will go out, and I think that's why we enjoyed the beginning. Before we went on the Colorado trip, I think that's why we enjoyed working on the van so much, because we got to
Be in the
basically,
sun.
be in
and
the
work
sun,
on
but
it.
we also got to work on our dream. And we still got to work on it. It was just, like I said, it was
started getting
gloomy.
cold.
And I'm like, oh my gosh.
And it was so hard to get motivation to
Yeah.
go out in the cold with like
Yeah.
coats on and
So we worked on that for
a couple.
yeah, it was like
months.
about a month and a half, little less than. Then we went to
Georgia. My
for
little
her
sister
sister's
turned
birthday,
21.
yeah. And they love Vampire Diaries, so we went to
We went to Covington,
Covington,
which
yeah,
is
we went
where
to-
Vampire Diaries was filmed,
we went to Mystic
aka
Grill.
Mystic Falls.
Yeah, we went to Mystic Grill, which
Ate there.
kind of cool.
Went and saw a bunch of their houses. Got the. No, we didn't get the pancakes, the blueberry pancakes.
But
But we
Mystic
saw a
Grill,
lot of the filming sites.
Yeah,
and
it was
stuff.
cool.
It was really cool.
it was cool there.
And watched Indiana beat Ohio State
Yeah,
in the
the
Big Ten
Big Ten
championship. But we got to see all the filming sites with Brooklyn and celebrate her 21st birthday, and it was fun. We got to see like all their houses and then the bridge with the Damon and Elena
Yeah,
kissing
I'm not familiar
scene,
with
and
the show.
yeah, it was fun. And then we
that
came.
was when in the
back.
beginning of December, like December 6th or something like that.
We went back to Ohio.
And after this trip, we only had, when we got back from because we drove the van down to Georgia just to kind of get a feel for.
And at that point, we had like the benches in. We had the bed mostly done.
Yeah.
We had like the shower walls done.
After we got back from Georgia, we only had like
2
two
weeks.
two and a half weeks left until we actually left to start not our journey, but because we went down to Florida for Christmas and New Year, and so it was just, we kind of had to start speeding things up and separating stuff, like what we were gonna
And when we
take
got
home.
back, we started getting rid of stuff. We decided, we were like, it's too cold to
Yeah.
be out there doing stuff
Yeah.
on the van. Let's just finish it in Florida
Mhm.
and North Carolina.
And then we got down, we left on the 22nd of December, 21st or 22nd, I believe. And we got down to Florida. Her other sister lives in St. Pete, so they have like a little guest parking. So we just, our first
Oh
night.
no.
Oh,
Remember?
yeah, no,
You're about to get into it? Okay.
I didn't remember until I just started telling this story, but her sister's apartment complex has guest parking, so that was our first official night in the van, and it was, it was comfy.
we slept
Yeah,
in
it was
it.
comfy.
And then the next day, got up.
I'm like, I'm gonna, because we had been driving it all over, and with the snow
Yeah.
and the salt and then the bugs on the way down, it was just dirty. So I'm gonna go wash it. I turned the van on, and it's just this, like, that's a horrible imitation, but it sounded like
1,000 basketballs. Like squeaking freshly waxed gym floor.
and there's smoke coming from under the van, and I'm like, bruh, like I said, I don't know anything about cars, but
So
if I
then
see
he decided
smoke
to
from
start driving
yeah,
it.
I was like, I didn't know. I thought it was gonna stop, and so I'm trying to turn it, and it's not stiff at this point. Like, I can turn it, but I'm starting to turn, and I start to move, and it's like making the noise, and then there's just a pop, and then the noise just stops, and then the steering wheel didn't. I had to like pop a can of spinach and chug it to be able to turn the steering wheel.
Look, I was working and I looked down and saw him. Like he pulled up and then he just stopped. And I'm like, is everything okay?
Yeah, and I had to text her. It's not a long belt, but the mechanism that it sits on, it, you know, everything from
Like
your
the pulleys.
Yeah, the pulleys that it sits on, from your power steering. I think like your AC compressors in there. But the part that we were having trouble with was the power steering, and that pulley was just old, and that noise was the belt. So normally the pulley is turning like super fast, and the belt's moving over top of it. Well, that noise was the pulley was just sitting stagnant, not moving.
So then the belt was like trying to rub. Yeah.
And that smoke, the noise was the belt rubbing across it, and the smoke was it heating up. Yeah, and
burning.
it basically melted on the pulley. And so we were trying to figure out how to get that fixed. And so we were, you know, calling around, and I'm asking all these people.
So then we tried to get AAA. He found a place, and we needed to
I
get
have,
it towed
like,
there.
We have AAA.
They brought out someone with a small. We told them what kind of car we had. We brought out someone. They brought out someone with this small tow truck that the van wouldn't fit on. So then he tried to call and see if he could go get the bigger one, and they wouldn't let him.
He said, "There's trucks."
He's like, "I came from right around the corner."
Yeah, he said, "There's trucks that the van will fit on. I'm just gonna call and see if I can go get it." So he called. His boss said no. So then they had to send someone else out.
That took like an hour.
Almost 2, and he brought the
exact same truck.
And so we found this guy, this mobile mechanic, and he came, and
he was cool.
I went and got the serpentine belt, because at first I was about to try to do it myself, and I told him that, and he laughed. He said, "Man, this thing would have given you a hard time."
He said it was like the hardest one he's ever put in.
It gave him a hard time. And so he came, and he worked on it
for a while.
It was like 4 or 5 hours. He started when the sun was out, and he got done when it was the sun was down. It was nighttime.
But we got that fixed.
He got it fixed, and so we drove over to the RV park that her parents were staying at, which wasn't that far away. From there, we were going to North Carolina, and so I'm glad that we got that taken care of. But we had a lot of fun in Florida. We went. We got that taken care of.
Started working more on the van, and then we went to North Carolina for 2 weeks to stay with my other sister again.
And we got more done. I think I said this in one of our other videos. We got more done in our last day there than we did the entire time we were there, because it was like,
we got all the frames finally put in for the cabinets.
We got our table, the legs. We got the table cut, and we got the frames built. So that cabinet that you see when you first open the van, we got that put in. We got the frame, our long cabinet, we got that put in.
We got the flooring put in.
We got the flooring put in. We left there and started making our way out here. Yeah, we stopped in Tuscaloosa, so that was kind of cool, because I haven't been a couple years. Literally since I graduated, I haven't been back. And so it was nice to see like where I used to live and just the university, and it was just cool being back there.
We spent the night there, and it got cold. It got into the 30s.
But it wasn't.
But we weren't
that
bad.
Yeah, it wasn't that bad. So then we left Tuscaloosa and we drove to Mount Pleasant to see our friends Anthony and Rebecca. Shout out to you guys. We stayed with them for like 2.5 weeks.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah. It was cool. It was nice to kind of
see their new house.
Rebecca's family, and like her parents, brothers, and then her grandma, they all live on the same land. So it was kind of cool just to see.
They have goats, and the goats gave birth while we were there, so we got to see little baby goats.
Yeah, and so we stayed, we watched the national championship with them. Well, that week, the national championship was on a Monday. We were planning to leave that Saturday. And Friday, it started raining about 4 or 5 o'clock, and
this was the snowstorm of the century that came through.
I think like the jet stream kind of lowered within the country, and it just pushed all the cold air that was coming down from the north. It just pushed it all to the eastern parts of the country. Like,
we're in a different spot, as you can see. Quincy's phone died while we were filming. So we have to film the rest of it here in Death Valley.
Yep. But we left off talking about
the snowstorm of the century.
Snowstorm in Texas, yeah. We were with Anthony and Rebecca. That pushed our
leaving date.
leaving date back a couple of days. We were originally supposed to leave on Saturday, but we ended up leaving Monday. And then we left around
But
like,
no, I was just gonna say, but we got to stay a couple extra days.
Oh, yeah,
which
no, it was
nice.
fun. Yeah, it
I'm
was
glad we
fun.
got to. And that's the nice thing about living in a van
Yeah.
is like nothing's really planned. I mean, we have some campgrounds booked and we have a plan, but if something happens,
we
and
can just
we
adjust.
just
Yeah.
change our plan.
So then, after we left Texas, we drove all the way through the night.
Yes, we left at like 5
yeah.
p.m. when I got off work.
Yeah, and we drove from Texas to just outside Alamogordo, New Mexico, which
So it was like from 5:30 p.m.
Mhm.
until 7:30 a.m. the next,
the next day. And we stopped at a gas station.
It took like a
And
30-minute
took like
nap.
a 20-30 minute nap, and then we stopped outside of Phoenix. But yeah, that drive it wasn't that bad. It was just like
We went some interesting ways on
Yeah.
some dirt roads and the Texas
Yeah.
oil fields
Yeah, no.
and up through the mountains of New
New
Mexico.
Mexico, but it was
We
it was
almost
fun,
ran
though.
out of gas
Yeah, that part wasn't fun.
in the middle of the night and we had no service.
No service, so we almost
We were
had no
just-
gas and no service.
We were just cruising down the mountain hoping we would roll right into a gas station, and we did.
But
We stayed in Phoenix
Yeah,
for
we
one
stayed
night.
in Phoenix for one night at Usery. I think is
It
how you
was
say it.
so pretty.
Usery Campground. I'll put some pictures.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like just outside of the city. It gave you just enough like peace and quiet to where you couldn't hear anything else around you. But I mean, you'll see from the pictures, like
You could see.
you could see the lights of Phoenix and Chandler
And we just like drove in for dinner. Like
yeah,
it was
we
like a
ju-
15-minute
It
drive.
didn't take that long, but yeah, and the saguaro cactuses or cacti, however you say it, they were all
It was so pretty.
they were all spread out all throughout the campground.
And that was one thing that had to get changed because of our delay in Texas, but it was worth
Yeah.
I'm so glad it got changed because the campground, we were at a different campground and it was beautiful too, but this one was so
Yeah.
pretty. Like we loved it.
Yeah, there's like 5 state parks around the Phoenix area. You can choose. You all book them. Like you book wherever you're gonna stay through the same site, and it tells you it's better when you get there, and it's always better when you don't know what it looks like, and then you get
Yeah.
there and it's better than what
Than you
expected. But yeah, so then we drove to Palm Springs.
But we
Yeah,
spent
we
a
had-
week there.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun. We did a hike. We went to like
We
3
relaxed a lot there too, which
Mhm.
was nice.
Yeah, we did the hike. I think like the first few days we were there. We went we passed by several different oases. Palm Springs is unique because it reminds me a lot of Phoenix, where it's just in the desert, but there's a huge mountain that is right behind like downtown Palm Springs, and so you can see it. Like I remember one of the first times we drove there, we saw it just out in the distance. I just saw the outline of it and I just followed it, and then we got closer and it was kind of creepy because it's like you can see the snow on top of the mountain, like the peak of the mountain, but you don't see the
'Cause it
rest
was
of the
nighttime.
mountain. Yeah, because it's so dark out.
But yeah, and then we went to LA
Mhm.
to visit with some friends.
Yeah.
LAOC stayed there
Yeah,
longer
for-
than we
yeah.
planned
We had to
because
get our solar adjusted.
yeah, we got our solar worked on in Texas and we didn't get everything done and some stuff got done wrong. It wasn't the guy's fault because he didn't really know what he didn't know, but we found a great guy, all county RV and
Yeah.
solar in
Corey
Anaheim,
was his name, in Anaheim.
and
Yeah,
he got us all together,
Yeah, he
but it
hooked
took
us
a little
up.
longer than we
Yeah.
planned, so
But that's what I mean. Like that's one of the convenient things about having the van is, one, we can just stay. Like we did a lot of stealth camping in.
Just
Like
on
we
the
stealth
street.
camped, outside the place we lived in, Fountain Valley. We stealth camped by where Jordan used to work at. So it was just like we just found little streets, and so we had to adjust some stuff. But
we got to spend more time with
Yeah.
friends, and
it was
so it was
fun.
fun. And now we're here.
Yeah.
We're in Death Valley. Now you're up to date.
Yep. So hopefully, we're actually recording the. I got some footage yesterday. We're actually recording the Death Valley video. So at the
Stay
time
tuned.
at the time of recording, we are sitting at sitting here talking to you right now, we're sitting at 190 feet below sea level. So, and last night the wind.
Oh my gosh, it
I
was
thought the
going
wind was about to.
blow over. I feel bad for people in tents.
Oh my gosh.
It was very windy last night.
But yeah, so talk
Yeah.
about story time. I hope you guys enjoyed.
Yeah, it's a long one. Sorry, but
Yeah. So
hopefully it was.
we got our Joshua Tree video out. Go check that out. Also, this video will be done soon. And like I said, we're in the Death Valley videos in the works.
That's
as
coming
we're
next,
speaking,
and
so that's
then
coming next.
you'll see
got-
where we're going after that.
Yep. So hope you guys enjoy and
Now what a ragamuffin. So you do the ragamuffin. Sister do the ragamuffin. Brother do the ragamuffin.